you so much for being here today. Welcome
pleasure.
to Columbus.
You're outnumbered.
Is it anybody's first time in Columbus here?
It might be.
Yes.
I mean,
think
I've
so.
been
You do
around-
a lot of conventions, I feel. Yeah.
I'm from Southern Indiana, though, so like I've been like around, but I don't know if I've done like a show here before.
Well,
So it might be the first
welcome.
time. Thanks.
Welcome. You need to get some recommendations of where to go eat at your
I've been
table
given
later, I
many.
think.
I will take more, but I've been given actually a lot of recommendations.
Do you remember one?
They're
need
on a
one.
list on my phone.
Okay,
no, I
that's
didn't
smart.
take up brain space. I'm so
That's
sorry.
very, very smart.
I heard there's a really good boba place that's like all fresh,
Ooh.
really close by.
Oh,
Planning on-
I heard there's a market of food places right down the road called Grand Market. Is that what it's called? I believe. Oh, yes, what they said.
That's the one. Yeah, that's
Yes,
the one.
that one. Well, everyone, I forgot to say, if you would like to go ahead and start lining up for your questions, please feel free. Don't be shy. Look at y'all. Y'all are so ready.
Sprinting.
I'm going to ask a couple questions to you all myself, and then we can go ahead and get to the line. My first question is, I know that you were season 1, you were joining later, and then Michaela, I think, joined season 2.
Yes, ma'am.
How was your audition process? I know it was very different between all of y'all.
Yeah, that's
the
also
show.
the case for like any actor. When people ask
True.
about like advice, they're like, "How do I get into acting?" And it's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so different. It's going to be so different. It's going to be your own journey. So like, take the advice, but it's going to look so different for you."
Well, were you familiar with Avatar as a franchise when you auditioned? I know that it was brand new still, technically.
I didn't have cable growing up. I had books and Winnie the Pooh VHSs, along with we also had Cats on VHS, the West End cast of the musical Cats, and Phantom of the Opera on cassette tape. You know, those were the kind of the options. So I didn't really watch too much of what I was doing, unless like I got to go see it in a theater somewhere, which TV they don't really do that. So I was actually the character in season 1. If you recall the episode The Fortune Teller, we see some nodding. And there was the character Mang who had a crush on Aang and called Katara a floozy. So apparently all my characters have to have beef with Katara. That's just how it has to go.
I get it. I understand.
Yeah, see, you understand. And so I did that, and the creators were thinking of making Toph a female around that point, because originally she was supposed to kind of be like a Bolin, kind of bro-y dude. Bolin from Korra, I mean. And so I came in, and they were like, "Hey, we should have her audition for Toph. that might be our Toph." And I did not know it was from the same show. And I got the script when I was actually visiting my grandparents in Southern Indiana, just a quick little hop, skip, and a jump from here. And we had to find like a music studio to record this audition in, because they were like, "We need it in 2 days." And we were like, "We're in the middle of Indiana, and it's 2006. What are we gonna do?" And so we found this music studio that had a little recording corner, and just went in, and I read the script, and my grandma was with us and was like, "Hey, who reads this other part?" And I was like, "No one. I just read Toph." And she's like, "Well, I'll read the boulder." And so my grandma read the boulder lines, and I read my lines from the first episode, The Blind Bandit. And we sent that in as my audition, and here we are. So I don't know where that file is. I really wish it was.
I'd love to hear your grandma as the boulder, I have to be honest.
It'd be so good. So yeah, that was, and then I booked it and went in. Once I was in the studio again and like saw the people, I was like, "Oh, I did that one job. You're the same people. Like, this is cool." So yeah, that was me, my audition experience.
I love that they kept Toph still bro-y when they made her a
Oh,
girl
yeah.
as well. They were like, change nothing except she's a girl.
Literally, yes.
If you ever want just to do, like my male friends who write for women, I'm like, just pretend the character's a man and then change it to, and then you will write a very developed, wonderful character.
Wow, who would have thought?
Yeah. Love that.
And I read for it maybe months and months ahead of time. I'd forgotten what I had even. It took forever to get back to me on it. I thought, well, I didn't get that. I knew they had a lot of on-camera people that they were auditioning, like stars. But I just thought, wow, she's really powerful. And it was a speech. It was the Tide speech, Do the tides command this ship? Then let's worry less about the tides who've already made up their mind about killing you, and worry more about me, who's still mulling it over. And I guess a lot of people yelled the mulling it over, like, "So still mulling it over," yelling at everybody. And they said, "You were like kind of the only person who just kind of like was really laid back about it." And I thought, well, she's so terrifying and so powerful that she doesn't need to yell at anybody. It's way creepier.
Creepy, yeah.
Exactly.
Very
And
smart.
Daphne knew about creepy, so Daphne said, "I know a creepy way to read it."
You stood out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about you, Greg?
I actually was working in the always exciting world of business and legal affairs for the Walt Disney Company. I know I missed it. What a great job that was.
He was busy not paying people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And my agent sent me the audition, said we're looking for a voice match for Mako Iwamatsu. And at the time, I thought, well, sometimes actors, they're not available. I figured this is probably for a video game that Mako doesn't want to do, or maybe he's going to be on vacation. And I had no idea that he was sick. And I had, unbeknownst to myself, been working on a Mako impression since 1977. Because I've always loved, I wanted to be an actor at an early age, I knew that, and I've always loved musicals. And the only thing I wanted for my birthday and Christmas from my parents were albums from Broadway shows at the time. And Mako was in a Stephen Sondheim show, opened in '76, called Pacific Overtures. It remains my favorite musical to this day. And I got the album on my 17th birthday. I became enamored of this. I would sing along with it like you do. Over and over again, upon the floating kingdom, in the middle of the world we float. I would sing along with it, not realizing that I was actually working on an impression of Mako Iwamatsu. Yeah, that would come in very handy. And the funny thing was, I sent in the audition from my desk at Disney, and I'd done a little work, but not a whole lot. And this particular day, I'd been with Disney for 13 years, and they laid me off, like Disney does. And I was in my office going, what am I going to do? My kids are teenagers. They're going to be going to college. This is a terrible thing. And, they say, when one door closes, another door opens. Within an hour of being laid off, my agent called, and they said, you're Nickelodeon's #1 pick. They want to see you at the studio next week.
That's awesome. So. And you had severance, perhaps.
Indeed. I did, actually.
You have to put your 2 weeks in.
To their credit, they did eventually hire me back, but without bennies, because Disney, Disney.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Also, you should call your contractor if every time one door opens, another door closes, or whatever. Something's very wrong with my house. I'm taking you to court. Another one, just a little funny side note. It's funny how, the universe, this is going to sound very woo-woo, grandma, but it's funny how the universe is like how you were training for that, and you had no idea.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and when I was little, I took the hall pass. I remember having the thought. I was 7 years old. It was second grade or third grade, and I was like, I'm going to go work on my screams. Oh, yep. Yeah. So I got up and I went and got the hall pass and went to the bathroom, and I was just in the bathroom just going, screaming bloody murder. And this janitor and a teacher rushed into the bathroom what's going on? And I was like, I don't, and then I just started sobbing because they were so mad at me. And they were like, why are you doing that? Why would you do that? I was like, I was practicing my screams. And they were like, why? And I go, I don't know. But then when I moved to LA, I was the scream queen. I screamed on every video game and every show, and they would hire me mostly for my screams. And then I was like, I also do characters, and they're like, whatever, just scream. Anyway, but then they started believing.
I had an era of screaming as well. It was a thing. There was one audition. I was in the back of the car. We were driving somewhere. We just pulled over, and my mom handed me the phone. She was like, okay, just talk to the casting people. And I was like, okay. I was like, hi. And they're like, okay, hey, can you just give us your best scream? Just be scared. And I just held the phone a little further away and screamed like bloody murder. And then it was like, was that good? They're like, yep, hand the phone back to your mom. And then I booked it. And I was like, I don't know. Okay. So see, there's validity to this.
But yours were for a reason. Mine were no one told me to do it.
But the gut feeling, we talked about
it
this.
It feels really good though. If you ever want to just scream, I don't know. I used to stim a lot when I was little, shake my hands and make noises and stuff. And I also had sentences that I really liked or words that I really liked to say over and over. They just feel so good. And I tamp it down for everybody else. Sometimes when I'm alone though, I'll let loose with a twiddle, a shaking hand thing, and it feels really good, and I jump up and down. Anyway, but yeah, no, the screaming, there's no release like that. It just feels so good.
Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to go backstage and do a little screaming. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling it, I'm working on my screen.
It's true. But do you ever get excited about, if I get excited about an idea I have or something that I'm into, that I really like, I get a full body, electric, I was at the airport and I was like, I got to go excuse myself before someone carts me away because I'm really excited about this idea I have and I have to, anyway, but I'm going too far.
Work on your screams, everyone.
Yeah, it's joy. You tamp down your joy.
I love whimsy.
Yeah.
And that's great.
We love
but if you haven't tried it, you got to do a little. It's fun.
That's so funny.
Well, without further ado, I will move it over to the audience so we can make sure to try to get to everybody. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and then ask your question.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm from Cambridge.
I know exactly how to spell your name. Katelyn.
Yes, I went and saw you today. My question for you guys today is, what was like the favorite moment that you had while recording Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Probably for me, since I'm pulling from middle school memory here, the probably most impactful day was when I got to record with everyone for the final episode. Because normally it was just me and maybe Chaca, maybe Katara, maybe Azula, but there were only maybe 1 to 3 or 4 of us at any given time. And so then the final episode, they had 9 of us, I think, including Mark Hamill. My mother was very excited, and I didn't know what was going on. And so, there were 9 of us there, and we were able to go through a couple pages of dialogue without stopping, because usually you have to stop or skip over someone's lines, if other people who aren't in the studio. And that was kind of the moment where it was ooh, it came alive a little bit, because we all just got to go without stopping. And that was just cool. It was cool to have all the people. There were so many artists too, and people who were working on the show and producers stuffed into the room to watch us record. It was cool. So it was just oh, it's a party. And I just remember that. That was definitely the most impactful day for me.
And that was one of my favorite memories, too, because it was the last. And again, I had been working primarily in business and legal affairs. I'm sitting there in the green room waiting to go in, and Mark Hamill sits next to me. And my inner dialogue is oh my God, Mark Hamill is sitting next to me. You're professional, man. You're professional. No, don't fanboy. Be cool. Act like. Don't say anything. Just don't say anything at all, Greg. Just ignore him completely. And so that was what I did. I ignored him completely. And then he's such a famously nice human. After the session, he came up to me and said, "Hey, that was nice work you did in there. We haven't met. My name is Mark Hamill." "I know who you are, man. I know who you are. I'm sorry. I was afraid to talk to you before."
I do the same thing. I bet everyone who I've ever admired just thinks I'm a total jerk because I just ignore them completely, and I'm just because I don't want to go too far the one way, and so I'm don't even get close to even looking at them. You'll spill over.
That used to be me, and now I've gotten over myself. And Christian Borle is here this weekend, and this is one of his first conventions.
I want to meet him, by the way.
You should go say hi. He's very nice. And I'm a big fan of his Broadway stuff. I went and I saw him in Something Rotten on Broadway forever ago, and so I was just you're gonna go up and you're gonna be hello, I'm a voice actor around the corner. It's so nice to meet you. I'm a huge fan of your Broadway work. That is all. Goodbye. That's pretty much what I do. Because I feel it's nice to hear the appreciation for the work that you do,
And also, it's always good to talk to people like that about the other weird thing. Everyone's into some weird thing. That's not this, And if you really want to get someone going, talk to them about the thing that people know nobody ever talks to them about.
Well, I'm sure if people come up and talk about specific songs of yours that they love, that makes
or just
your day.
Music that I love,
yes.
musicians that I admire.
Yeah.
If you can fan together with the person that you know.
Exactly.
My
When I
son-
met Henry Winkler, I didn't want to. Literally, you're talking about. I was saying, "Hey, you were great in An American Christmas Carol. You were one of my favorite Scrooges. Remember you did that back in 1979?" And he's like, "No one's ever even mentioned that before." I'm glad you're talking about that. I was scared of doing it. It's it freaks him out.
There's a musician I love who loves model trains and stuff. So I'm always you want to get him talking, get into the model trains, and he'll go to town. You won't be able to get away from that guy. Anyway.
Hi, thank you. Thank you guys so much.
We hardly need any help. We just
I know,
start.
we just keep yapping. I'm so sorry.
we've been doing this a
We'll
while.
go faster.
I will say something real quick. If y'all want to go see Blake Roman, talk to him about his original music, especially if you're a musician. He loves it.
Yay! See, now we've unlocked
we have
the
spies.
secret.
We have spies in this room. We're gonna get
You're
notes
also
on everyone.
an original. You're a musician as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
If you
she is.
follow me on Spotify, just follow me on Spotify just now. And then if you go to my table, I have these amazing big Azula stickers. They're one-of-a-kind Azula stickers that my son designed, and they're beautiful, Picasso level. And you can only get them at my table at cons. You can't get them online. And it's free if you follow me on Spotify. And you don't even have to wait in line. Just go, "Great, I follow you," and hold your phone up, and I'll run out a sticker and hug you, and it'll be great.
And it'll be great.
It'll be great. Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi, my name's Nolan Schock. I was wondering, so what was your favorite actor to work with on the show?
Gray and Michaela.
Oh, you were. I was gonna say this
Not
girl
Mark
Gray
Hamill?
was kind of annoying. I'm just kidding. No, you two were really fun. I remember first meeting Gray, one of our first sessions together. She was pregnant with the son who designed her stickers, and she was so sweet and pregnant. She was I'm so excited. I'm gonna have whatever, gonna be a mom soon, blah, blah, blah. And then she started reading and she like went very evil. And I was like, oh my gosh, she scared me. I would say, oh man, Zuko's voice is always really cool, as we know. So like anytime Zuko was in the booth, it was just cool because his voice is cool. But Jack DeSena is so funny.
So funny.
He was so funny, and he just is Sokka. Like I feel like when you meet him, you're like, oh, this makes sense. He's probably the funniest. The funniest to be around. I don't know.
I'm a big Henry Rollins fan of his music, and my friends and I went and saw him when I was in high school, and my one friend got a kiss from him, and she wouldn't wash her cheek. And then I played Ming-Hua in Korra, and I showed up to the session, and they're like, and here's Henry, he's gonna be playing your boyfriend on the show, and I'm like, I was like writing to my friends, going, guess who my boyfriend is, Henry Rollins. Anyway, so it was, I don't know, you have to be 50 years old to get this whole thing, but.
What about you, Greg? Who was your favorite?
Was he serious? Were you being serious?
Oh, both of you.
I was serious. I was, of course, honestly, again, I was. The fact, even today, I still fanboy a little bit that I get to be around these people. It actually,
He's just trying to get free
quite
tequila
amazing.
shots out
That's
of us.
right. Well,
He loves tequila.
tequila. And, the tea in Long Island is also quite delicious.
Great question. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, nice shirt.
Ooh, big fan. I wish I could see it.
Hi, my name's James. There's been some questions within the fan base. What's your opinion on Sokka and Toph hooking up later in the future?
All right, we're going this direction.
Ready.
So first of all, I'm just going to cover the ships real quick. So Zutara, yes, I get it. It's great. It's like that wonderful, like, toxic pull you have towards someone where, like, they could have had a kiss. Like, there have been, like, 3 moments in the show where you're like, they totally could have kissed right then. But that's not who you marry, right? Okay? That's not going to last. Now, maybe there should have been a make-out scene. Okay, I would have been for that. But they had to make it kid-friendly. But it ended up the way it was supposed to. Everyone married when they were supposed to, okay? Now, Suki dies young. We don't know. We don't know what happens. Do I think that Sokka and Toph would have done something while she was alive? I don't think so. Sokka friggin' loved that girl, and like she taught him how to be a better man. Like there's all sorts of things there that need to happen. But listen, long-term friends, life. I think that there's a possibility that maybe one of the daughters maybe was just an accident. So we'll see what happens. We get a new movie and a new show soon, so maybe we'll get some of that lore finally answered. We'll see. Yeah.
I didn't see the show until about a year ago when my 10-year-old son was like, Mom, all my friends say that I'm Azula's son, and I want to see this show called Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I was like, okay, we can watch it. And we're watching it. And I'm like, oh my God, no wonder everybody loves this show. It's so good. And then I was like, you can stay up. We'll watch another episode. We'll watch another. And he was like, oh, thank you. And then that one would be over, and I'd be like, are you tired? Because we could watch another episode. I just really wanted to see. And I was so mad at the end when it was not Zutara. I was like, what is this crap? He's with May? No! I was like so mad. So anyway, but yeah, so I ship it hard. And that's why I've been divorced 3 times.
Okay. Okay.
I've been married for 40 years, and I ship Zutara as well.
Oh, well, so I don't know. The whole thing is just about whatever. Live your life. Make the choices you want to make.
As long as it wasn't Jet. That was a real bad news situation.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's also so hot.
I know.
He's so hot.
Kind of worth it. My grandma used to say, Mijita, pretty shoes are like pretty men. They hurt, but sometimes it's worth it.
Oh my gosh, you should make that a sticker for your table.
Oh my God, she said the best things. We would go to dinner and they would read the specials and she goes, Mijo, if it was special, it would be on the menu, okay? So she always would just order something off the menu, never the special. And then my friend who's a chef goes, very smart, because you know what? The specials are usually things we're trying to get rid of.
Yeah, get rid of. Yeah, not funny.
Little grandma wisdom. She would have gotten along well with
I'm learning so much. Write that down.
Also, my friend Jennifer Hale, the actor Jennifer Hale. Do you know? Anyway, she's really amazing.
June and Avatar Kyoshi.
Oh yeah, June. Yeah. I bring it back to Avatar. Good, thanks. Keep me on point. But anyway, she came over once. She's so beautiful. My grandma goes, Mija, are you dating anybody? You like anybody? She's like, oh well. She's like, I like someone, but I don't know. I'm not sure how they feel about me. I'm not sure if the guy likes me. And grandma goes, he doesn't like you, baby. It's okay. It's okay. Just move on. He doesn't like you. And she was like, okay. And then she was like, well, how do you know that? And she goes, if a man likes you, you'll know.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
And
I'm learning
Oh my
this.
God. And so she went home and then she called me. She's like, oh my God, I was kind of devastated, but I think your grandma just saved me like 3 years of my life. She was like, because she's like, yeah, I think she's right. Like, I would know. Anyway.
It's true.
But then again, if a woman's interested in you, you'll always be confused.
That's It could go. It could go one of like 6 ways if a girl likes you. You don't have to navigate that carefully.
Does she like my shoes or does she like me?
Does she actually like me as a friend or as does she want to kiss me? I don't know. We don't know
ignoring
either.
me. I must be impressive. Yeah. Anyway.
That was a great
Again,
question, I'd
sidetrack. I'm
say.
so sorry.
No, I loved it. Thank you. Hi there.
Hello, my name's Jacob, and my question is like, what was the hardest episode for you guys to record for any reason? Is there any reason really?
Yeah. I love your Perry shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
New seasons of Phineas and Ferb are out, y'all. Good times. Yeah, it's very exciting. I literally texted Dan Povenmire and I was like, listen, if there's ever just a chance for me to just audition for something, I would love that because I know every word to that intro still.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
104 days.
But they already have such a great cast. They don't really need. And they have like Michael Bublé as a guest
Oh,
star.
yeah.
Like I'm not anyway. So the Melon Lord episode was my hardest episode because I had laryngitis. So we waited till the end of the episode, and they're like, "Okay, time for the Melon Lord line," and I was like, "Okay," and we got 2 takes out, and then my voice was gone. So that's what you got. But I was panicked that whole time. So
The Agni Kai, the final Agni Kai for me, I was sobbing in the booth because it was just so, I just felt so much empathy for my character, and I just felt like if she'd had maybe better role models and maybe some medicine, she could have. But it was sad.
And her father wasn't an homicidal maniac.
I think for me, it was probably the first episode I recorded on, simply because I was walking in the middle of, you guys that already knew each other. You know, this was something that was already ongoing. And not only am I replacing Mako, but you guys had worked with Mako. You had known him when he was alive. So it was very strange to be walking in, oh, who's this new guy, you know, trying to take over for, you know, Mako, you know. And everyone was so kind to me. So thank you all very much, you know.
I think you did a great job. I think we can all agree you did a pretty phenomenal job.
Oh yeah, he did great.
Thank you so much.
As did you all.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hi guys, Jacob. Hi. So you guys mentioned Jack DeSena and how funny he is. The soothsayer actually had my favorite line. My life will be calm, happy, and joyful. But what would you say is your favorite Jack DeSena Chaca line that just made you laugh when you heard it?
I mean, his cactus juice crash out is pretty iconic.
Drink cactus juice.
It's the quenchiest. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think that was probably one of the most ad-lib parts of the show. Like, the rest of our parts are pretty much locked in. Like, those, we did not ad-lib, like, really at all. But Jack was given some rein to do that.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
It's kind of hard to, in my mind. This is really good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the boomerang. You do always come back. You know. When I finally saw the show, I was like, oh, that's the line that Jack always says. Also, embarrassing Jack DeSena thing. So he was a kid when he was on the show. Maybe was he like 13 or 14? I don't know.
He was older than that.
He was. He was. Well, to me, he
was
seemed
in
like
college.
Oh, he was.
Wow.
Well,
like when
but to
he
me,
was
he was like a
that
baby. He was just like a baby to me. And then like
17,
about
18.
and then like, you know, 15 years later or whatever, he was in this lobby of a voiceover studio, and I came into this booth and I was like, who's the hottie out in the lobby? There's this hot guy out there. And then somebody's like, that's Jack DeSena. And I was like, oh.
Oh my God, I can't believe I just thought that.
Full body cringe. Yeah. So funny. I told him that. Now that we're friends and I love his wife and his family, I can tell him the weird moment.
Yeah, it's the quenchiest. It's the quenchiest.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'm surprised no drink company has stolen that.
Well, a few have attempted, but I also, I don't know.
They don't have the delivery.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. You have to have Jack on board. Jack needs to start his own drink company, but he doesn't want to do that much work. So he just wants to drink the cactus juice.
And there's also the fact that if he drinks, it'll go,
Exactly.
Joy Mushy friend.
Great question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Blue.
What was your favorite line that you did for your character?
My
Or any of
favorite
them,
line
if
is,
you did
my
one.
own mother thought I was a monster. She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
That's so heartbreaking and hilarious, and
I really like, I go back and forth. Toph has so many good one-liners, but I just love the episode The Library for so many different reasons. I just love the beautiful owl, even though it's also creepy, and like the balance of trying to save Appa versus, the entire crew. And then, one of her first blind jokes where she's like, look, there it is. That's what it'll sound like when one of you spots it. It's so good. And you're like, oh, this is the chick that we have stuck with us now. Okay, great. We have to listen to a lot more of these blind jokes.
My favorite line, everybody has an Iroh line that is sort of like their touchstone. When you're having a bad day, this is the Iroh line that sort of gets you through because everything out of his mouth is so incredibly wise and impactful. And my wife and I lived in California for 30 years. The kids were grown and launched, so we decided we would move back to New Mexico, where I was born, have a much more chill and cheaper lifestyle, And so everything worked. We sold our house. It was great. We arrived in New Mexico on March 1st, 2020. So 2 weeks later, everything went to hell. And I remember I was like, I can't watch the news anymore. I'm just going to go out for a walk, And I remember I was thinking, oh my God, what are we going to do? We have kids on the West Coast and on the East Coast, and there's no toilet paper, and we're all going to die, and this is just a terrible, terrible, terrible thing, And I very clearly heard the line from Korra in my head: if you look for the light, you will often find it. If you look for the dark, that is all you will ever see. And from that point on, during COVID and beyond that, just in my own life, that's the line I come back to when I'm having a bad day. That sort of, chills me out and just, gives me a little perspective. What I love about it, on the surface, it's just a way of saying stay positive. But it involves an action. If you look for the light, you have to want to look for the light. And if you want to look for the light, you will find it. And I think that's one reason, because one of the weirdest things about it, the one thing I think is out of character for Iroh, who's a loving man, he says of his niece, who clearly has psychological trauma, she's crazy and needs to go down. He refuses to mentor her. But maybe it's because she didn't want to look for the light. And maybe that was exactly it. I can't work with this, Yeah.
No hope. Yeah. That's good. It's a good line.
Great question. Thank you.
Hey.
Hi there. You should be able to grab that mic right at that thick part and then just scoot it down.
Okay.
Normally. Oh, you can tilt it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, first one. Miss Griffin. I met you back in August.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Before I get to my question, I wanted to tell you, Mark Hamill said on a panel about Avatar when he read it. He didn't say it to the people at work. But he said, this show is only going to be 4 episodes and that's it. It's too smart for Cartoon Network. Well, he said Cartoon Network. He said,
Oh.
he said, you don't go from Powerpuff Girls to that show and then but
He was wrong. It was more than 4 episodes.
But not on
Yeah,
Cartoon
but-
Network.
And not on, he
I
was
can't
wrong
believe
twice.
the sticking power of it too. 20 years later, and people watch it. Some people watch it every year just to reset themselves. They're like, it's just always on at our house, or we always learn something new from it every time we watch it. And
They're making a video game now.
I know.
Allegedly.
And then if there's the live action, and then there's the new movie next year, and there's a new series coming. It's like crazy.
Mark
it's
Hamill's
crazy.
sitting at home going, "What happened?
I was
4
wrong.
Episodes?
He should have invested.
It's in the zeitgeist. I never used to get recognized on the street. Now I was at the Shake Shack the other day and I shut the place down. I was in there and someone was like, "Excuse me, are you?" And I was thinking, "No, I'm not whoever you think I am." And they're like, "Great," and I was like, "Oh my God, yes, I am. And they're like, "Oh my God," and then they were taking selfies. I'm like, "Wow, this is weird."
I
But
sometimes
yeah.
get stopped weirdly enough, because I think there's just so many people out about, but in New York. I get stopped on the street in New York. There's so many people, but I'm walking through 34th, by Macy's, and just some random person, "You're Michaela." And I'm like, I'm in Manhattan. How do you know who I am? There's so many people here. This is crazy.
It's an Avatar thing specifically, though, because I know a lot of people who are voice actors who, they're recognizable, but it's not, the fandom's just different.
Right, they're just different.
We are
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
We're special.
We're special.
It happened to me at Disneyland once. I was coming off the Little Mermaid ride, and a guy goes, "Are you Greg Baldwin?" Are you with the IRS?
Yeah, quick question. Who are you? Before I confirm or deny this.
I was watching a TikTok about a totally different thing from this artist, like a visual artist that I love. And at the end, and I totally support the live action Avatar. I totally do. And I like the people that are involved in it. And I've never even seen it. So I don't have any opinion about it. But the guy at the end of it, I was watching the TikTok just as a fan of his. And then he's like, I mean, this is messed up. It's like, it's like people who are watching the live action Avatar. What are they thinking? And I was like, why? He's just calling. I mean, I just couldn't believe that he was mentioning something. I was like, he knows who I am, so he must know who I am. That's so weird. So I wrote to him and I was like, Avatar has your back, because some company stole his art and ran it through an AI machine, and it was terrible. But anyway, I'm just thinking, that's so weird. Everybody knows about Avatar, and it's weird. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling.
Yeah. It's
Anyways,
a very iconic franchise, I would say. Would you agree, everyone?
Yeah.
My dear, go ahead. What is your question as well?
I wanted to ask you, how did you get the roles of the characters from Avatar and also some other shows you did, like Aku from Samurai Jack and Mandy from Billy and Mandy and Vicky from Fairly OddParents as well?
How was what?
How'd you get your
Oh, how did we get the role?
We did.
Oh,
yeah. We did answer our audition stories for Avatar stuff, which was just a normal audition process for most of us. But what about
For
you guys
Mandy,
for Mandy?
the creator, Maxwell Adams, was married to this woman, and she had the part originally, and she was terrible. And so the director said, you can have a really cool thing to show your grandkids, or you could have a really hit show.
And he was like, I think I would like to have a hit show. So then she said, then we can't have your wife in the show. I'm sorry. And so they ended up getting divorced. It was messy. It's fine. He doesn't mind. And so, yeah, like the director called me at home and just said, can you get down to Cartoon Network and redo you got to redo the voice of the wife of the creator, because it's not going to work. So I ran down there, and the rest is history.
Aku was a little different. Aku was years after Avatar, and I didn't even know they were doing a fifth season of Samurai Jack, and a friend of mine called up and said, so, have they called you yet to be Aku? I said, for why? And I didn't even know. I said, well, no, they haven't called me. So I just assumed that they had recast me, because these things happen, But then I finally did, eventually, right before the recording session, this was most unusual, said, my agent called, you're going to the very first session, you'll be paid for the first session, Gendy just wants to see if he can work with you. So that was basically my audition, was the first gig. And the most beautiful words as I was leaving, he's like, I hope you like me. Gendy says he's leaving, I'll see you again. So I was like, okay, I think I got the gig, I think I got the gig.
Great question. Thank you.
We have like 7-ish minutes left, so we're gonna try to go like speed roundy to get through as many of your questions as possible.
There you are, brother.
Hi,
I'm the superior sibling.
I'm Christian. That Toph was the only one from the gang that didn't get a life-changing field trip with Zuko. But if that did happen, what would happen?
They would go to therapy together.
Good answer.
Yeah, she and Zuko need like generational wealth, like traumatic family drama therapy. They need to go to some like rich people therapist together and like get all that sorted out. So that should be their life-changing field trip.
Great question.
I tell you a joke about Zuko, but it might leave you scarred.
No.
I tell you a joke about Toph, but I don't think she'd see the humor. All right, enough
Get
of
out
that.
of here.
Enough
Get
of that
out
foolishness.
Here, old man.
Thank you so much. Hi there.
Hey, y'all, I'm Luke. Have y'all ever realized how terrifying certain bending would be if you get creative with it?
I mean, yeah, even if you don't get creative with it, blood bending is still terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, lightning, lava bending's kind of cool. I feel like blood bending's the worst. Yes?
Yeah.
Or like what Zahir did with the Earth Queen?
Yeah. I don't know. Blood bending is just. Yeah. It's freaky out.
Great question. Thank you. Thank you. I like to think blood bending is just so uncommon that it would never happen.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi, I'm James. So a question for all of you, I guess. So first, for Greg, would be, when did Iroh first really start working against the Fire Nation, formally, not just being disgruntled, but actually work against them to try to overthrow his brother, and also, by extension, the other two characters, when would they have sort of suspected or realized this?
I would love to see a series that sort of explaining that, where he gets from the Dragon of the West who laid siege to Ba Sing Se to this kindly, lovable, person that we know now. I was talking to a fan, though. We were talking about Zuko's redemption arc, which got us talking about Azula's redemption arc, which got us talking about Iroh's redemption arc. And I've always felt that for Iroh to change so dramatically from the general of the Fire Nation, Crown Prince of the Fire Nation, to the Iroh that we know, I don't know if the death of his son was enough to make such an impactful change. And I was talking to a fan about this, and he said, no, you don't understand. Zuko is Iroh's redemption arc. And I think that's true. By molding and mentoring Zuko, he formed a kinder and gentler Fire Lord. And so in his own way, he helped to save the world along with Aang,
That's crazy. I think that Toph always, Toph is an immediate judge of character because she just literally feels your vibes. And so whenever I come across Uncle Iroh, I'm pretty sure I knew he was some sort of firebender, but he came in peace, and so I didn't really question it. So it's interesting how when they cross paths later, I'm like, hey, I know you. Wait, we're also being attacked. What's going on? It's an interesting mix. But I think I knew early on that Uncle Iroh was a safe space because we shared tea together.
And what a beautiful scene
Fascinating
that is.
strangers.
That is just a
I
beautifully
know.
written scene.
It's such an
a
unexpected
jewel.
little scene in the chase, and just oh, hey, Iroh and Toph. So cool.
Great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Hi, my name is Winter. I'm from Hamilton, which is 30 minutes outside Cincinnati. And my question for you guys is, out of all the characters you all have voiced, who would be enemies and who would be friends?
To them, friends to them, and
Or
enemies
of
to
each
them,
other,
or
or
of
of
each
each
other.
other.
Their voice, the
Yeah, the
characters.
I think most of mine would be friends because there's a lot of similar characteristics. Because as a kid, I first of all think that actors, there's two different camps. There's actors who kind of are extensions of themselves and different versions of themselves in various roles, right? And then there are people who transform into these amazing caricatures and different, they're completely different. And I feel like that breed is a little rarer. And most of us are kind of just being a version of ourselves. Somewhere up in our head, we have this little thing over here that can live in the character. And so when you're a kid, you're just kind of busy being honest being a kid. And all of my characters from when I was younger are all just sassy girls with black hair. It's just the whole group. And so I feel like they all
Emperor's New Groove.
What'd you say?
I remember Emperor's New Groove.
Exactly, yeah, Kronk's New Groove, so we have Johanna, whatever, and then in Meet the Robinsons, young Franny is just you think I'm crazy too. Everyone's sassy. So I think they would all actually, they might hate each other for 2 seconds at first, because be why are you strong-headed? Oh, we're the same. Okay, I love you. And then they'd be friends.
I would have to say, Vicky from the Fairly Odd Parents would be enemies of Mandy from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, because they would just try to cancel out each other's evilness.
And I think friends, well, jeepers, I think Daphne would be really good friends with Sam from Danny Phantom, because I just feel like they both wear cool little purpley mini skirts, and I think
Daphne needs a goth to balance out her bright personality.
Yes. Yeah. Cute.
I think that Uncle Iroh would be good friends with the Jedi Master Tera Sinube from the Clone Wars. I think they would be good friends. And I think, now Iroh and Aku, that's a different matter because they'd be frenemies, maybe, because they're good and evil, but I think Iroh would go, because they were both voiced originally by Mako, so the voice is very similar, I think Iroh would be like, oh, great Aku, I love the tone of your voice, so gravelly and distinct. And I think that's how he'd get Aku not to kill him. Oh, I can see that you have discriminating taste, you incompetent tea-guzzling fool.
Thank you all so much.
Unfortunately, we only have time for one more. So if you didn't get a chance to get your questions asked, please go see them at their booth.
yes,
They
come
will
to
be
my
there
table and
all
get your free
weekend.
Azula sticker and a
Yes.
hug.
After
I'm going to
this,
go
we're
back there
heading
for
back.
20 minutes before. After this, I'm going to run there for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to go eat some food because I'm starving and haven't eaten.
Full disclosure, if you come to my table for a hug, I am coming off of a cold. Your own risk.
Yes. Little
Hi
con
there.
crud never hurt anybody.
What is your question, my dear?
I just have a quick question. If your characters were the main villain besides the Fire Lord, how successful would you guys be of taking over the Avatar world?
Oh, geez. I mean, I feel like we would probably do a good job at that. I mean, you're the dragon of the frickin' West, and I'm the greatest
Yeah, I know.
earthbender.
Iroh literally could have done that.
Yeah.
Because and turned away from it. So I don't know if Iroh would ever have taken it because he just did not want it.
No, yeah. I mean,
I wanted it.
Yeah.
You
was
wanted it
taken
too
from me.
much. You wanted it too much. See, just about. People have mentioned like Toph. If Toph were the Avatar, the whole show would be over in like 2 episodes. It'd be over so fast. I do think. What'd you say? The next Avatar is Earthbender. That's right, for the next series that they're coming out with next year. But yeah, I think for a lot of it's a choice to be good. I think a lot of good people have greater power than the evil people in charge, but they just choose not to utilize it. And maybe that's what makes us extra powerful. I don't know. But I think we both could do probably a pretty good job if we were all of a sudden evil.
Yeah.
Scary good.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank
it
you
was
guys.
a pleasure
Thank
having
you.
you.
Yes.
I know y'all live in the world of NDAs, but is there anything that you would like to talk about that you have coming up that you would like people to keep an ear or an eye for?
I did actually record something this week that I can't talk about. So, anyway, the thing I can't talk about is pretty cool.
I'm still on Invincible, and I play.
I love that show
I play
so much.
Monster Girl and Shrinking Ray. Like Shrinking Ray's awesome. So keep on. It's such a great show. I love it. I'm so proud of it.
There's a cute little slice of life anime of just like high school girls taking pictures and eating food in Japan. It's called Mono. It's on Crunchyroll. And I voice An, and she's 16 and has a lot of energy. And that's kind of where she sits. And there's a cat named Taisho, and I'm obsessed with him. He's very big and squishy. And so, yeah, if you're into a little slice of life anime to put on in the background, go check out Mono.
Yay!
One more round of applause for Michaela Jill Murphy, Great DeLisle, and Greg Baldwin.
Thanks, guys.
We would love to have everybody stand up. We're going to take a stage selfie real quick, if that's okay. Everybody can come up to the stage, not on the stage, but up to the stage, and we're going to take a quick picture.